Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to all the devotees for this exclusive question answer session. I already have some questions from the previous week. I'll try to answer them, and you can also post more questions on live chat, and I'll try to answer as many as possible in the next 1 hour. Here's the first question. If a child is born with a disability, is he or she solely responsible for their condition according to the law of karma? Yes. Everyone takes birth according to the law of karma. And at the time of birth, the body they get, the condition of the body or the birth, everything is decided by their karma. That means whatever activities they have done in the past, and accordingly is a particular type of body with a particular set of facilities is awarded to them by the higher laws of nature, of God, of karma. Next question. Who is the main character of Mahabharata? Obviously, it is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is never alone. He is with his devotees. So, Krishna and importantly, the Pandavas. They are the main characters of Mahabharata. Next question. Is the sun closer to the earth than the moon? Yes, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the closest heavenly planet is the sun to the earth. Moon is also a heavenly planet, but it is farther than the sun, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Though the modern day scientists, they calculate moon is closer than the sun. That's what they calculate. But that's not what the Bhagavatam says. Next question. How can knowing Krishna as the proprietor, enjoyer, and benefactor bring us peace? Those who are not Krishna conscious, those who do not know actually Krishna's position in this material world, they are simply thinking that there is no God in control. There is no absolute controller. They think different people compete for being controllers at different levels. So I can also, by my efforts, by my endeavor, by my intelligence, by my influence, I can also become a controller. So if I become the controller, then I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, I am the master. I can give happiness to others, whomever I want to give happiness. Others become dependent on me like this. They are simply engaged in a hard struggle for existence, because as soon as somebody tries to be controller, immediately they are in the clutches of Maya. And Maya is going to be very, 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 very strict with such a jiva. Any small mistake, they're going to be punished. And of course, if they violate the laws, every violation, they're going to be very, very stringently punished. So simply, foolishly, they are trying to be Lord. That's the general tendency of any living being in this material world, especially human beings. But a Krishna conscious person knows Krishna is in control, absolute control, complete control. Nobody else can be controller. If at all somebody else seems to have some control, it is given to them, awarded to them in a relative way. In a relative way, they are having some powers, but that power can be withdrawn. It is always subject to so many conditions. Their power they can lose anytime. But somebody else who overpowers them, somebody else who becomes more competent, somebody else who's having more punya, they can lose their position. Like you see, even in the ordinary day-to-day life, we see so much struggle for power, no? So much struggle for control. And nobody enjoys peacefully their position. Who is the one who is peaceful and enjoys their position without any hindrance? It's only the devotee. Why? Because devotees are completely protected by Krishna, completely provided for by Krishna, completely they are surrendered to Krishna. Krishna takes total care of them. They have no anxiety, they have no fear, they have no wants, they have no demands, nothing. Because Krishna is there. So these foolish people who do not know Krishna, they are the ones who are simply engaged, always engaged in struggle. Sada samudvigna dhyam asabgrahat. Because they have accepted this material energy to be all in all, material nature to be everything. So asabgrahat. Therefore, they have to be always in anxiety, always. Next question. If a devotee goes to Goloka Vrindavana, does that mean he can never see great personalities like Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha, Hanuman, Parvati, etc.? Now, you see, going to Golok Vrindavana is not a physical transfer like it happens in the material world. Going back to Godhead or going to Golok Vrindavana, going to the spiritual world means a change of consciousness. Right now, we are not Krishna conscious. We are materially conscious. So material consciousness has got its limitations, always got limitations. Spiritual consciousness means we are aware of the highest reality, Krishna, and everything in relationship with Krishna, we can be aware or we can know simply by desiring to do so or by expressing the need for that. If I want to see Lord Shiva, I can see Lord Shiva. If I want to see Lord Ganesha, I can see Lord Ganesha if I'm Krishna conscious. I can transfer myself anywhere I want simply by willing to. Just like Narada Muni, how does he travel? Simply by deciding to go to some place. He just goes, that's all. So, please understand from the descriptions of Narada Muni how a devotee who is fully Krishna conscious has got the greatest freedom, has got the topmost freedom among all other living beings, among all other personalities. He's got the greatest freedom. See, these devatas, they cannot go to the spiritual Vaikuntha Loka, spiritual planets. Whereas Narada Muni can freely go anywhere. He can go to Vaikuntha, he can go to Golok Vrindavan, he can go to Shiva's planet, he can go to Swargaloka, he can be on the earth, anywhere. He can go to Patala, he can go anywhere. So that is the freedom of the pure devotees. Next question. In the Kurukshetra war, it is said that 64 crores of people died. But when we add both Pandavas and Kauravas soldiers, it is not matching. Now, certain calculations are difficult to do like that. Of course, it is said that 18 Akshohini divisions of soldiers were fighting on the battlefield. Now, these 18 Akshohini divisions, if you do arithmetic, I have done this and I see that it doesn't come to 64 crores because in the Mahabharata, it is explained in the Bhagavatam one place, Prabhupada quotes Mahabharata and says, what does one Akshoni division of army consist of? How many foot soldiers, how many soldiers on elephant back, how many soldiers on horseback, how many on chariots, everything is given. Pakka figures are given, definite figures. But what happens as one particular day the fighting is going on, so many die, they are replaced next day. They're replaced. Now, how much replacement happens, that's not very clear to me. So therefore, you cannot simply do simple arithmetic and arrive at this figure. You take it as an authoritative figure. Actually, number of people who were killed in the battle was 64 crores. That's all. Next question. Is there a difference in Satchidananda eternal bliss and Satchidananda Vigraha eternal bliss with a specific personality or form, or are both the same? There's no difference. There's no difference. In our transcendental state, we have a spiritual body, spiritual form, which is our original form, which is what we are. It is not a form that is developed. It's not a form that is created. It's not a form that is fabricated. Never. It is what we are. And our nature is to be always happy. Ananda. Always in Ananda, situated in Ananda. In fact, to not be in Ananda is our abnormal state, unnatural state. Material condition is an unnatural state. Next question. While telling someone about Krishna consciousness, how harshly should we tell the truth? You don't have to tell the truth harshly. You can tell the truth, but tell it in a nice way. Should we try to sugarcoat some to keep them in touch? You don't have to sugarcoat. There is a way of dealing with people like a gentleman. That's all. That's all that is required. Like in ordinary dealings also, how do you deal with people in a gentle way, in a courteous way? How do you deal? Same way you deal with in Krishna consciousness also. The desire to preach comes from sharing the compassion that Krishna has got for the suffering living entities in this world. Sharing the compassion Prabhupada has got for the suffering souls of this world. Sharing the compassion the previous acharyas have for suffering souls. That is very, very important. When you have compassion, you'll be very nice to people. You'll never be harsh. See? Next question. In Bhagavad Gita 3.14 says, Yajna karma samudbhava. Is yajna born out of prescribed duties? What does this mean? It means the way to perform yajna according to varnashrama dharma is simply to do one's prescribed duties. Prescribed duties are given in the Vedas. So if a grahastha is carrying out the duty of maintaining his family members, his wife and children, then that is the yajna he is doing. Yajna does not mean just some fire sacrifice alone. No, that is one type of yajna. There are other types of yajna. There are in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, Krishna describes different types of yajna. I just read some types of yajna from the 4th chapter. 1 minute. From 25th onwards, Krishna describes different types of yajna. Daivam eva pare yajnam yogina paryupasate. Brahmagnav apare yajnam yognenaivopajuhvati. The meaning of this 25th verse of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is, some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them. And some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. See, this offering sacrifice in the fire of the Supreme Brahman is explained by Prabhupada in the purport as there are people who offer sacrifice in the worship of the demigods. Indra Yajna or Chandi Homa or some other type of yajna they may offer for the demigods. That is actually one type of yajna. Then there is this sacrifice offered to the Supreme Brahman. These are people, you see, impersonalists. Impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of the impersonal Brahman. So, this is another type of yajna. Then further, Shotradin Indriyanyanye Samyamagnishu Juhvati. Some of them sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of the controlled mind. So, this means a brahmachari in the Varnashrama system hears only words containing Krishna consciousness. Hearing is the basic principle for understanding. Therefore, the pure brahmachari engages fully in Hare Namanu Kirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from the vibration of material sounds. That's a sacrifice he does. A brahmachari. Similarly, grahasthas, they sacrifice the propensity for enjoying sense gratification in family life. In that way, they perform sacrifice by not indulging in sense gratification freely, but doing their duties very responsibly and not indulging in sense gratification. That is a sacrifice they do. So like this, there are different types of sacrifices. So, yajna karma samudbhava means if one does one's prescribed duty, that itself is sacrifice. That itself is sacrifice. Brahmachari is engaged in studying the Vedic literature under a bona fide spiritual master. That itself is sacrifice he is doing. Studying the Vedas under the guidance of a bona fide teacher. Like that. So next part of this question is, from which prescribed duty, Japa Yajna or Sankirtan Yajna is born? Okay. In prescribed duties, Prabhupada explains there are two kinds of prescribed duties. One is Swadharma, other one is Sanatana Dharma. Swadharma is according to one's position in Varna and Ashrama. There are specific prescribed duties for each person in each Ashrama and each Varna. Whereas Sanatana Dharma is common for everybody. The spiritual duty is common for everybody. Everybody has to do Sankirtan Yajna or Japa Yajna. Everybody has to do. Including those who are not within the Varnashrama. They also should do Sankirtan Yajna. Chandalas, Antyajas, the most sinful people. Prabhupada preached to everybody and made everyone a devotee by simply engaging them in Sankirtan Yajna. So that is the prescription, especially in Kali Yuga. Everybody should do Sankirtan Yajna. And in that way, they become perfect in every respect. Next question. What does it mean to achieve or take shelter of the lotus feet of Gauranga? Whenever the word lotus feet comes, it means to follow the instructions, following the footprints of the Supreme Lord of Gauranga. It means to follow the instructions of Gauranga as he is given. in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described. What are the instructions Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to everyone? Most important instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to chant Hare Krishna. And after one begins to chant, one should associate with devotees and learn how to chant without offense, how to engage in other types of devotional activity, so that one comes to the stage of always engaging only in devotional service. That's a perfection. So like that. So lotus feet means following the footsteps, following the instructions. That is the meaning of taking shelter of the lotus feet. Bhagavad Gita 2.46. Only for a sage who has realized the self, the Vedas are of no use. They are useful for neophytes or aspirants who just started on the spiritual path. How to understand? Let me just open this portion that you are referring in the Bhagavad Gita. .46. Okay, the explanation given by Prabhupada is elaborate purport, 2.46. Prabhupada says, the ultimate purpose of all the Vedas is to understand Krishna, is to know Krishna. Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. From all the Vedas, Krishna is to be understood, Krishna is to be known. Now, if somebody who takes to Krishna consciousness, or somebody's realized the self, then for them, there is no need to go through the Vedas, the gradual process of understanding the self by separating matter from spirit, understanding what is spirit. All those details one doesn't have to go through. So self-realized persons, for them, the portion of the Vedas which gradually elevates one to the transcendental platform to understand the self is not required, because they're already on the transcendental platform by virtue of self-realization. Whereas somebody is just starting and they don't take to the path of bhakti, they don't take to the path of devotional service. For them, they have to begin, and for them, they have to gradually advance little by little by little on the path of the Vedic recommendations, and gradually elevate themselves to the ultimate perfection of Krishna consciousness. Very slow and very, very difficult also, time consuming. It may take millions of lifetimes. So that is not recommended for people in Kali Yuga. Next question. While telling someone about chanting, how we avoid the ninth offense? Ninth offense is specifically telling, don't declare the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to faithless persons or people who may be not having so much appreciation of Krishna consciousness. Such people, don't tell them of the glories of the holy name. You can tell them to chant Hare Krishna without getting into the details of the glories of chanting Hare Krishna. You may just tell them, chant Hare Krishna, it will do good to you. Or you can tell them, try chanting, you will become very, very peaceful, you'll become happy, you will get clear direction in life. everything auspicious will happen to you. Like these kind of things you can tell which people are always looking for. But you don't have to tell about some of the glories which are very, very confidential. Like I'll give an example of confidential glory of chanting Hare Krishna. That just once chanting the holy name, a person can get rid of so many sinful reactions that an expert sinner for millions of lifetimes, whatever sinful reactions he gathers by committing sin after sin after sin, even that is not the limit of how much one chanting of Hare Krishna can purify. One chanting of the holy name can purify more sinful reactions than an expert sinner can commit in millions of lives. So this is a glory of the holy name. Holy name is so powerful. It is as powerful as Krishna, therefore infinitely powerful. So that is the holy name we are dealing with. But if you tell this, it sounds like an exaggeration. It sounds like we are fanatic. It sounds like it is not really true, but simply we are exaggerating just to somehow attract people to chanting. No, that is not the fact. It is the truth. It's a reality. But to tell people about it, you have to see that the person has to develop some faith to hear such glories of the holy name. So avoid telling about the specific glories of the holy name, chanting of the holy name, to people who are beginners. Don't tell them of the glories immediately. Next question. Why is Bhagavad Gita, as it is stressing so much on bhakti? Some people compare it with Ramanujarya's commentary and are telling that bhakti is not important. Ramanujarya's commentary is all about bhakti only. What else is there in Ramanujarya's commentary? Bhagavad Gita is only about bhakti. Prabhupada says in the 18th chapter, first verse of the Bhagavad Gita purport, Prabhupada says, I'll read the purport portion. In every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. This same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. So it's a fact. Bhagavad Gita, only bhakti is being described or bhakti is being stressed. So there is nothing else in the Bhagavad Gita other than bhakti. Because who's speaking Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavan. Who is the person who's questioning or asking some questions? It is a bhakta, pure devotee Arjuna. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter can only be about bhakti because Bhagavan, the object of all devotional service, and his pure devotee, they are discussing, they are talking, they are conversing, they are exchanging. So therefore, it has to be only about bhakti and nothing else. Next question. Some people are sentimental about worshipping Krishna or polluted with some Mayavada ideas. How to tell them without hurting them so that they take up this process? In preaching Krishna consciousness, we have to be very compassionate to people who are misled or people who have wrong understanding. We have to be compassionate with them. And we have to use our intelligence. We have to pray to Krishna. How do I present Krishna consciousness in a nice way so the person may take it up? Not that I preach and then the person becomes upset and goes away without hearing or without considering what we are telling. So it is basically showing compassion on the suffering souls who are even misled by sentimentally worshipping Krishna or polluted with Mayavada ideas. All such people are misled. So to uh, to show compassion and gently bring them out of the wrong path. It requires patience, it requires tolerance, it requires compassion, it requires determination to help somebody who's really suffering, even though they may not understand or they may not agree or they may not want any help. They may not follow whatever you may say. So unless you are determined, it's not going to happen. You should be compassionate, you should be kind, you should be nice to them. Like that. Next question. Bhagavad Gita 2.69 says that which is real to worldly people is an illusion to the sage and vice versa. Is it just a night for the world is awakening for the sage? Now this night and day is an analogy that is given in that verse. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami. It actually means, Prabhupada explains, the saintly persons or the Krishna conscious persons or the transcendentalists, they are active in self-realization, whereas the materialistic persons are active in sense gratification. So when saintly persons it is said are active in self-realization, then as far as sense gratification is concerned, they are not active, they are not interested, they don't pay attention, they are not bothered about it. So that is called night. Night for the transcendental persons, the saintly persons, is his business of sense gratification. And what is day for the saintly persons, where they are active, what they are doing very actively is self-realization. Activity is self-realization. Activity is Krishna consciousness. But as far as the materialists are concerned, they are active in sense gratification. So they are not interested in self-realization. So for them, self-realization activities are like night. They are not interested. They ignore it or they completely set aside all such activities. But they are very busy with sense gratification always. That's the explanation. Next question. At home, should we have to offer separate Naivedya for Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra and Radha Krishna? Okay. At home, you can offer one plate to Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra and one more plate to Radha Krishna. Or if you want to offer just one plate, you can offer it to Radha Krishna. And that is enough. That is enough. Because ultimately, please understand, the idea of offering in our present condition is to sanctify the food, spiritualize the food. Otherwise, full of so much of material contamination. It's full of karma. So to purify that food, you have to offer to the Lord. And you recognize the Lord as a supreme enjoyer, supreme proprietor, supreme master, supreme maintainer, like that. That is also the sense in which one offers food before eating to the Supreme. So if you offer this one plate to Radha Krishna, that's enough. But if you want to offer two plates, you can offer one plate to Radha Krishna and one more plate to Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. Like that. Next question. While telling someone about the meaning of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, I do not like to mention about Radharani. What are the other alternatives if they ask? Hare refers to Radha. Hare refers, you can say, Hare refers to the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Internal potency is the spiritual potency. We are right now under the material potency of the Lord, and therefore we are engaged in a hard struggle. We are suffering in this material world. But if we take shelter of the internal potency of the Lord, then we come out of the clutches of Maya. We don't have to suffer, and we will be freed from all bondage, like that. You can mention, instead of Radharani, the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. Next question. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha and sarvadharman parityajya. Can you please explain these two in practical life? Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha is stressing on, in the Varnashrama Dharma system, everybody has to do their prescribed duty. Otherwise, there will be chaos in the society. Just like a traffic policeman, he is supposed to guide or direct the traffic where he is posted for duty. Somebody else also starts doing, or somebody else replaces him, or somebody else tries to contradict him, then it will be chaos. So therefore, everybody should do whatever is prescribed for them. And the Sarvadharman Parityaja practically means that if there are some impediments in surrendering to Krishna, then one need not consider those activities which are bringing about impediments, and simply surrender to Krishna without any consideration of other duties, other responsibilities, other material activities. You don't have to consider any of those. Next question. What is the difference between Sankhya Yoga and Dhyana Yoga? Now, as the 6th chapter is entitled Sankhya Yoga, this Sankhya Yoga refers to Lord Kapila's explanation of practice of devotional service. It's called Sankhya, Kapila's Sankhya. Whereas Dhyana Yoga is specifically referring to the Ashtanga Yoga process in which one comes to the stage of dhyana or meditation on the super soul in the heart. So that is Dhyana Yoga. So both are same. Sankhya Yoga as taught by Lord Kapila, and Dhyana Yoga is nothing but the meditation on the super soul in the heart according to the particular prescribed method. So both are same. Why is the current edition of Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, changed from Sankhya Yoga to Dhyana Yoga? I don't know why they changed. There is no need of changing it. They have unnecessarily changed it. I don't know why they have changed it. Next question. Since we are not the body, we are spirit soul, how to understand keeping the photos of the departed family members long after they have departed? Should the photo be kept? Photo need not be kept. But we identify that soul only in our present condition by the body they were inhabiting and the way they appeared in a particular body when they were present in this world. Now they are in some other body, in some other place, we can't identify them. Therefore, the photo is kept to identify the soul, not to identify the body. Please understand this point. To identify the soul, because the soul who was inhabiting this body is the person whom I am referring to in my Shraddha ceremony or in offering prayers to Krishna for their well-being, in doing my duty towards the departed soul. So therefore the photograph is important. That's the only way we can identify the person, the soul. We cannot see the soul. Even the person is present, we cannot see the soul. Next question. How to understand that my attachment to Radha Krishna is not sentimental? In our conditioned state, we cannot have spiritual attachment. Please remember this. It's a fact. Spiritual attachment is not possible for those who are in conditioned state. Spiritual attachment is only for liberated souls who are free from all material attachments. So, if somebody thinks I have got attachment for Radha Krishna, it is not a real attachment for the transcendental personality of Radha Krishna at your level of the soul. No. So that happens only by making progress in Krishna consciousness and coming to the highest perfection of developing attachment for Krishna, attachment for devotees of Krishna, attachment for specific devotees, pure devotees. That is actually transcendental. It's not sentimental. It is not imaginary. Next question. I am a devotee. I suddenly heard Mayavada philosophy and I want to do bhakti as a devotee servant power. How do we not envious of Krishna? Now, when it is said Mayavadis are envious of Krishna, it means that they deny the personality of Krishna. They say there is no God in form. They don't accept the spiritual form of God. They say God means impersonal, no personality, no form. So therefore, their understanding is completely wrong. And when they hear repeatedly devotees talking about form, they become very irritated. They become angry, or they become disappointed, or they become frustrated, because they have been hearing God is formless, God is formless, God is formless, God is formless, God is formless. Millions of times they would have heard that. Millions of times they would have tried to meditate. But that's of no use. It is simply waste of time. So therefore, the important thing for somebody who is a devotee is not to hear Mayavada philosophy. Accidentally somebody hears, there is no loss at all. There is no loss. If you accidentally heard, you just ignore it, you forget about it, you don't think about that. You focus on your actual positive service in Krishna consciousness. Next question. In Brahma Samhita text 5 purport, it is mentioned those who are less intelligent relapse to the sevenfold world. What is the sevenfold world? Is it referring to the material world? Yeah, it's referring to the material world. That's all. Next question. Do those who study the Gita go to Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan? Studying the Gita is for awakening our original consciousness. So according to our original consciousness, whatever that particular position is, we'll go to Vaikuntha if our original position is in Vaikuntha. We go to Golok Vrindavan if our original position is Golok Vrindavan. A relationship with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan, like that. Everybody has got a specific relationship with the Supreme Lord in a particular form according to the relationship. Next question. How to enroll for online Bhakti Shastri from HKM temples? It's not yet started. It is going to start when we have the material ready. Till then you have to wait. Now there are temples which conduct some courses on Bhagavad Gita. They are not Bhakti Shastri course, but there are some courses which are introducing Bhagavad Gita, or giving an introduction, or briefly explaining some simple points, etc. Those courses are always going on, and you can go to the website of different temples and refer the website to get more information about these online courses that are regularly being held in different temples. Are there clear references to love in the Gita? Now, bhakti means love. Bhakti means love. This love, which is referring to bhakti, should not be confused with some material sentiment of love or some material feeling of love. No. That is not real love. It's called as love, but it is simply some sentiment, material sentiment. That's all. So therefore, real love is bhakti, or devotional service to Krishna, perfectly rendered by a pure devotee. That is actually bhakti. Are the words devotional service and love synonymous? Yes, 100% synonymous. Next question. Since Brahma can fall from his position, but Haridas Thakur cannot, as both are same, how to understand? See, please understand, when it is said Brahma can fall, but a pure devotee does not fall down. Brahma's position is not secure because he is in the topmost position as the topmost Devata. That doesn't guarantee there is no possibility of spiritual fall down. So spiritual fall down is not going to happen ever for a pure devotee who's fixed upon the spiritual platform in devotional service. Next question. Does Ananta Sesha hold the entire 1/3 of the material universe on his hood? Now, Ananta Sesha is a very, very powerful personality who belongs to the category of Vishnu Tattva. Means he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So he can hold one universe on one hood because he's got so many hoods, or he can hold everything on just one hood only. That is also possible for him. So anything and everything is possible for him. So we go by the description specifically mentioned in the scriptures, or we straight refer the Bhagavad and read the description there. There are descriptions in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, the glories of, I'll mention the title and the chapter. The glories of Lord Ananta, 5th canto, 25th chapter. Please read that. There the clear description is given of Lord Ananta. What are your thoughts on the audio books of Srila Prabhupada? Audio books of Prabhupada are very, very useful, very helpful. People cannot read due to whatever reason or various reasons. Hearing that same book as an audio book is very, 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 very valuable, very beneficial, very important. When can we expect them to be available publicly? Publicly, if it has to be available, then it has to be done. The recording has to be done. And it has to be released in a proper website for everyone to access that. Now it is available on some websites, but it will become more and more popular, and people can access it. When the books are actually, somebody takes the trouble to record it after reading it loudly, and that recorded portion is actually loaded on some website or some particular internet portal like that. It's not, I don't know of any particular program for somebody to systematically do that, but something is available already on the internet. If you search in Google, you'll find audio, that is recording of the books of Srila Prabhupada. Audio recording is available, and you can go to the Google and search and get that. How to understand that there are only 33 acharyas in Gaudiya Sampradaya? since beginning? Did this parampara begin this kalpa or beginning of creation of material world? Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, what Srila Prabhupada has given as the parampara begins from Krishna, means begins from the beginning of material creation. So the first student of Krishna, first disciple of Krishna is Brahma. And Brahma is heading our sampradaya. How only 33 acharyas? Because these acharyas have been mentioned, 32 actually, not 33. These acharyas have been mentioned as the ones who are handing down the knowledge without any change, and they are in the position of Paramahamsas, so that they are competent to receive the knowledge and pass on to the next generation. Now, this passing down the knowledge in the disciplic succession is a transcendental activity. You cannot calculate materially how it works. You cannot do that. Like Vyasadeva, he is not visible, even though he's in the Himalayas. He's not visible to ordinary people at all. But Madhvacharya went and met him in the Himalayas and sought his blessings and offered him this commentary he has written on the Vedanta Sutra, and Vyasadeva certified, yes, this is right. And then he presented it to the rest of the world like that. So, everybody cannot approach an acharya who is not physically present. But the authorities, the great transcendentalists, they are able to approach an acharya in parampara. Next question. Ghostly spirits are in what type of bodies? They are in subtle body. Can our imperfect senses perceive them? No, you cannot. As you see many cases of people experiencing ghosts, experiences some indirect effect. Just like current is flowing through a wire, you cannot see that. But if you touch that wire, you get shock, or then you know electricity is flowing. Or when you switch on a light bulb connected to that wire which is carrying electric current, then the bulb comes on because electricity is passing through that wire. It's a live wire. Like that. So by the effect, you may perceive the presence of the ghost, but you cannot see with or perceive using your senses. Not possible. Next question. Can we keep taking birth for 10,000 years and have the desire to help this movement? Is this okay? Now, devotees don't have specific desires as regards devotional service. The devotee's prayer to the Supreme Lord is, kindly engage me always in devotional service. Kindly engage me always in devotional service. In whichever body I may take birth, whichever place I may take birth, however long I may live in a particular body, always engage me in devotional service. That is the prayer we have been taught. It's a prayer taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagatisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatad bhaktir ahitu ki. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us, pray to the Lord that I simply want to always engage in your devotional service life after life. I don't even want liberation. But if Krishna wants to give me liberation, then we are ready to accept anything Krishna gives. It is in Krishna's hands. That's the meaning of surrender. Next question. If 1% of the world becomes Krishna conscious, then it can change the face of this world. How to understand this? The fact is that even one pure devotee can influence so many people. Just like Prabhupada, one person, pure devotee of the Lord. How many lakhs of millions of people he influenced? But if we consider pure devotees of the stature of Prabhupada, 1% of the population, today the population of the world, let's say 7 billion, 1% of 7 billion is 70 million. 70 million people spread over the entire earth planet. How much in people they can influence? Pure devotees we're talking. How many people they can influence? Definitely they can change the face of the entire world. If one Prabhupada can change so much in this world, where is the doubt you can have? 70 million people, they cannot change the entire world? Definitely they can do it. Next question. If I take Diksha from Prabhupada, will he become my spiritual master in the next life also? Yes, that is exactly what the Shastra says. Janme Janme Prabhu say, Chakshudan Dilo ye Janme Janme Prabhu say. Eternally my spiritual master. Not temporary spiritual master for this life. No. Now, how that is going to work, we cannot conceive, we cannot understand. Because we change body. So we don't know. We don't identify that the person with whom we come in contact as our guru in our next life is the same person who was guru in my previous life. We cannot identify like that. It's not possible. So therefore, we take the Shastric statement that a spiritual master who is a bona fide spiritual master, if I take shelter, he will deliver me till he delivers me, till I become competent to get deliverance. He will be always guiding me and he'll be helping me to actually make progress more and more and more till I achieve perfection. He will not say, this life I'm your spiritual master, next life you have to find another person. No, not like that. He takes responsibility for your complete deliverance, provided you follow his instructions. Okay. Next question. How to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning daily? You have to practice. You have to practice. And for this practice, you have to prepare the previous night. You have to sleep at the appropriate time. Supposing you require 6 hours of rest, of sleep at night. So to get up at 3 a.m., you have to sleep at 9 p.m. Now, for many people, sleeping at 9 p.m. is very difficult because they're not accustomed to sleep at 9 p.m. So it involves a lot of adjustments and cooperation of your family members, and then your seriousness in practicing Krishna consciousness early in the morning. Why you have to get up early? Because early morning is the best time to practice Krishna consciousness without any disturbance, without any agitation in the mind. Mind is very peaceful. After you have taken rest at night and you wake up and take bath and you begin to do your spiritual practices early morning, it is the best time to do it. So take advantage of that if you can. So you have to practice, you have to make adjustments, you require cooperation, you require to be determined, You require to associate with devotees who are already doing this. That's very important. Next question. What are the rules for wearing one round of Tulsi Kanti Mala? There are no rules. It is, see, when we wear a Kanti Mala, we are indicating to others and to ourselves also that I am a devotee. Who can be called a devotee? One who's seriously following the principles of Krishna consciousness is a devotee. So, wearing a Kanti Mala, indicating that I'm a devotee, but not following the principles of Krishna consciousness is contradictory. Just as somebody is wearing the policeman's uniform, but not doing the work or duty of a policeman. What's the meaning in that? It is meaningless. Okay. So similarly, wearing Tulsi Kanti Mala is to remind ourselves and to tell others that I am a devotee, to remind them of Krishna and to declare to others that I am a devotee. Next question. Is cold water or hot water bath best to bath daily? Actually, Ayurveda says water should neither be cold nor hot. Generally, for people, it should be lukewarm. That's what the Ayurveda says. Be lukewarm. That's the ideal. But if in summer cold water is better, in winter hot water is better, accordingly you can take. So there is no specific rule for devotees practicing Krishna consciousness whether they should take a cold water bath or hot water bath. Whichever suits you, you take. Important thing is to take a bath and be cleansed in the morning. Next question. Why does somebody become an atheist? What is the main cause? See, everybody has got what is called as free will. Krishna consciousness is a matter of exercising one's free will to surrender to Krishna, to accept Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead, to learn about Krishna's truth about Krishna. Now, it is one's own choice. It is not at all possible to force anybody. It is not possible to mesmerize or hypnotize, no, to make somebody a devotee. Or it's not possible to hypnotize somebody to become an atheist. No, not possible. So it's their choice. What is the cause? It is their choice. They want to be atheist. They don't want to believe in God. They want to accept God. So it's their choice. So it's time up. I'll stop here. The remaining questions I will answer next time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.